Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. Seems like I'm running correctly. Let me grab some backup here. Seems like it's running correctly. Let me pull up the audio. Make sure it's coming through. Give me 1 second. Oh, it is, I guess. Guess it is. Guess it is. All right. This is the SR51Media Show, episode 1. It is not the first episode to ever be created, but it is the first official episode of the new location of YouTube. That is right. The SR51Media Show has returned. Oh, crap. 5 seconds in, we already dropping stuff. Excuse me. The SR51Media Show has returned to YouTube. I just wanted to give a special shout out to everyone that's been riding with the brand. Riding with the SR51Media Empire since day one. Shout out to all my day ones. Shout out to the latest ones. Shout out to the new ones. Shout out to all the guys, the girls, the people in between, dogs, cats, women, and children of all ages. Basically, what happened here was I had enough time to realize that, in a way, SoundCloud was, just to address that. So we're, in a good position about why some people may be figuring like, well, why aren't you on SoundCloud? That's where it says you are and stuff like that. To be honest, um, I don't think it reaches enough people. I think that what I'm looking to do is to be able to kind of like, not even kind of, like I'm really looking to be in a position where basically I'm about to delete this franchise and I'm gaming as well, just to let you know, it's something I'm going to be doing during these streams is gaming because I feel like when your mind is in the game, you can make more conversations about the game, in my opinion. That's one thing I will say that I've always been a person of is more gaming than I've always gamed more than I've talked. If you look at my what you call it here, if you look at my original channel when I first started up, I want to say over about 10 years ago and stuff like that, I started up with okay. So I started up about 10 years ago with the first game being Quantum Break. I'm not going. That's another thing I wanted to kind of get out there. Whoa, we've been here 5 seconds. Hold on 1 second, please. Give me 1 second here. See if I know how to work this still. How does that even work? Let's see. Well, that's a good thing to learn right out the bat. Give me 1 second here. All right. Cool. Seems like that's all well and good. I mean, you're gonna deal with stuff like that. I'm not. I think there may be a misconception here. I am not new to streaming. If I give you one word of advice, if you ain't got a stone cold chest and the ability to know what you're doing here, don't go live, bro. Don't go live. I'm not here for the hot outtakes. I have nothing to say about other content creators, their shows, their platforms, their news. Everybody sits separate to me. Um, I just run off of basically, don't come for me, I won't come for you type thing. And that's how I live and operate. At the same time, I know there's going to be a lot of, how can I say, cross community conversation. There's going to be a lot of, if anything, with YouTube, you open yourself up to more and more trolls and stuff like that. Will this only be, shows where like I don't use my face? First of all, if you come to my TikTok streams, I use my face all the time. I recently just got my voice back. That's the crazy part about it, and I'm gonna address it too because this is an adult stream, is not made for kids and stuff like that. That comment right there at the bat doesn't really like shake me or nothing like that because I feel like I address stuff like that because at the same time, like I literally just got my voice back like a couple of days ago, so I'm happy to even be able to do the stream. Sometimes you don't know what you got till you lose it, and I'm talking about wispy. I'm talking about I sounded like Voldemort out this piece, for a while there. So yeah, at the same time to basically be able to have my voice back and be able to chop it up is very important to me. Um, I'm going to be getting this show is mainly and only going to be centered around gaming news. I think there was a period there where I was talking about, we got into a lot of stuff. Crypto, sports, comics. Look, I'm not saying there's not, going to be times in the future where those conversations don't happen, but to be honest with you, like there's a time and a place for everything, and this really ain't that time. Um, with the schedule that I have going and stuff like that, this will not be the only stream. It will also not have a time limit. That's another thing about it. That's why I decided to bring it up. In my opinion, why I decided to bring it up when we were gaming. I just recently discovered that after talking with the team and stuff like that, which are people that I hold close and people that give me opinions, on the brand and stuff like that. They're like, hey man, the SoundCloud thing is nice. It's a great place, and everything like that. They're a very upstanding place. I have nothing bad to say about them. But at the same time, what you have to understand is, the average person is not going to pay to listen to something and only whereas like YouTube, you can get an alert, pop in, listen for a minute. Maybe I do it all the time. I have no problem with saying I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that you may even listen to that I'm sitting right beside you in the what do you call that there in the what's the name of that thing in the audience listening and stuff like that. Typically I don't comment and everything like that because I feel like um it's better to allow them to just say what they're going to say. um I feel like if you have anything negative to say about somebody's streams, I think that can be kind of messed up. I feel that that can hurt somebody's brand and stuff like that. So uh I basically choose to, keep it to myself. It's kind of how I operate. If I live on a brand. If you have nothing nice to say, then don't say nothing at all, type thing. Now when it comes to the gaming news and stuff like that, yeah, take it upon yourself. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not gonna. Now, also to bring in some, let's say, how can I put this? To bring in some qualifications. Okay, uh, right out the bat, I've been streaming for over 10 years. I've been on Nintendo from the rip when they first started out with the Game Boy green screen. I've been rolling with them since then. I've been with Xbox since they began with the original OG Xbox. I hold no problem with PlayStation. Okay, let's get this out now. I know a lot of people believe in this whole like, how can I put it nicely? I know people believe in this whole like clipping thing, and I know that when you go live, you open yourself up to that, and people will say, "Hey, I got him over here saying this, and then this, and the fifth." Typically, with me, I like to shoot. I've noticed that over these past couple months, doing these podcasts, doing these live streams, I average somewhere around 50, 60 hours of gameplay a month, 500 YouTube channel videos of over an hour or so worth of gameplay. This is my first shot at wanting to do things this way because I feel like what was holding me back from doing the actual um, streams on YouTube was the fact that I had to, which is not even smart. I was like recording them and then um, basically, posting them. And a lot of problems that comes in with YouTube is posting videos can take several hours. So instead of me, spending 3 or 4 hours uploading a video, I just said, hey, forget it. We're doing it live. And there are some things I want to get into. I'm going to get into the gaming news. I'm just running through some settings here real quick for my franchise that I'm setting up on my Switch 2. Trade deadline, free practice draft presentation. Okay, yeah, franchise negotiations needs to be unlimited, and that needs to be unlimited. Draft timer needs to be off. Coach firing needs to be on. Breakout scenarios are on. Okay, we're good. We are Gucci. All right. Um, we're gonna start from week 23 because I can do that without even worrying about its main settings. So yeah, started out on gaming with the green screen Game Boy. I still hold allegiance to Nintendo while at the same time I'm holding allegiance to Xbox. That's why you see the logo split down the middle. That is not like my actual, how can I put it? It's not my actual like company logo. It's just my user ID. My company logo is the elephant that you see. I chose the elephant because a lot of people don't know. You can look it up yourself. Um, Elephants are very underrated, I feel. Everybody, everybody's a lion or a wolf or a bear or something like that, right? Not a lot of people are different. A lot of people may not know elephants are the type of animal where when they walk through the jungle, a full grown lion will not attack a full grown elephant by himself or herself. They will, bring back a pack to take them on. So what that shows me is you need 4 or 5 people to take me, you know? So that's something that made me think about it a little bit like, I think I want to go this way. I want to be a little bit different. But with the logo that you see in front of you right now, that I feel expresses where I am currently in my gaming journey, where I really feel very passionate about Nintendo and Xbox. Now, does that mean I don't feel passionate about PlayStation games? Completely not. Completely false. I think PlayStation makes very good games. I'm a big fan of I think God of War is a great series, in my opinion. I think that God of War is a great franchise. I think I don't know if Detroit Become Human. Also, if I'm not Edit Prez, um, is this the same? One second here. Make sure I got the chat pulled up. If I do not respond directly to the chat, as long as you guys keep it respectful, I have no problem with letting you be in it. But if you get disrespectful, I am the type of streamer that will hide you. And also, if I can, let me see something here. I don't know if this is actually possible because we're running it live for the first one. So let's see. Yeah. Mainly, as long as it's kept respectful, I have no problem with anybody asking me questions in the chat. If I don't answer every question, or if I don't get to every, how you doing as well, Press? If I don't answer every question, or if I don't get to every question, don't feel that I'm not talking to you. Just staying on topic and stuff like that. Anybody that's ever been in my streams know I go back and forth with the chat all day. My mods have not been notified of this stream. I'm doing well. Um, the mods have not been necessarily notified of this stream. As far as mods for these streams, I will be looking for people to add to that. I run a Discord that is private, only for select people. If you feel as though that, hey, I want to be a mod on this channel, say so. I will immediately take a screenshot of your name. You will have to go through a process, and you will also have to chop it up with other mods. And then once I get the authorization from them that, hey, this person's cool, let's bring them in, we'll go on from there. But as far as the whole, hey, I came in the door and, you know, I'm like, I want to be a mod and I make you a mod right away, I don't do that. I feel that that can kind of build a community of people that basically troll, and I know trolling's a part of the community. I know trolling's a part of the internet and stuff like that. But for me, excuse me, as I told you, getting over a cold or whatever it was. Um, but yeah, I feel like it can build a community of trolls and people that are, looking to get ahead. I'm gonna say something splash content in your chat, see how you respond to it, how you take it, and stuff like that. A lot of times, I think people allow trolls to kind of stay in the audience, and I'm gonna say it the way I see it. I think people allow a lot of trolls to be in the audience just to inflate numbers. I don't care about that. I have never cared about that. I do not count my empire based off of how many people are in the chat or how many people have followed or how many people like videos. I want, at the end of the day, to have a community of people that feel comfortable in the space to be able to say what they want to say without being harassed, whether that be a man, woman, person, alien, or animal. You could be 18 years old. Oh, one second. My bad. I had to scratch my ear there. You could be 18 years old all the way up to 100 years old. I feel like you should be able to say what you want to say without facing backlash from somebody that is, in my eyes, a lot of times I feel having a bad day. Which is understandable. There's a lot of crazy things going on out here in this world right now that have a lot of people pissed off, and I understand that. But this is not the place to come and troll me because I have no problem with blocking you. Hiding you, blocking you, whatever you want to call it. Um, I already have pictures of names and stuff like that. Whenever a comment like that is made, you will be hidden. And then whenever I get around to it, you will be blocked. As far as me unblocking you, that will not happen. So think wisely. If you have to come back to this stream the stream chat to remember, like, oh crap, he did tell me, that's something that he does, then I would advise you to do that. But getting back to my rep, I've been streaming for, I want to say, probably 10 years now. Um, like I said, first game I streamed was I've streamed games like Quantum Break, Assassin's Creed, several Assassin's Creed games. I think every year in Madden since I've come out, NBA 2K, WWE, uh, um, what else here? Tom Clancy, The Division, Tom Clancy's Wildlands, Animal Crossing. I'm going to be bringing more Nintendo games, more Xbox games, more news updates, more. You know, more is the title of this. More. But these are going to be more shoots. I think that I was coming at it more from a restricted, hey, let's talk about this topic and this news article for this period of time and am I throwing my to address that right off the bat because I kind of have a feeling that that's the next thing to come up there, am I throwing my hat into the console war? Yes and no. I feel as though that there is I guess if I had to call it checking in for the defense, Your Honor, of Xbox and Nintendo, defense attorney, SR51 checking in for the defense, Your Honor. I will be the defense force for these guys. I feel that there's a very punch down aspect when it comes to Xbox and Nintendo. There's a difference between just saying you like something to get a shirt or to get in my opinion, to get a shirt or get something free or get a game, and then being able to actually go back and be like, well, this guy has been doing this for a long period of time. This doesn't, like right now, if you was to feel like, hey, he's just doing this, for clicks, that's a pure lie because I've been doing this for like 10 years. The podcast itself was actually, hell, I don't even think I shut down the one or took it down completely out of, what's the name of that thing? Out of, damn, blanket out of because I'm just these are going to be shoots and stuff like that, right? So I don't even think I took it down from SoundCloud just yet. I just recently told them like maybe like an hour before they started up. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to be moving my show over to YouTube. I feel as though it's best held over there, mainly because of the fact that I feel that everybody's able to watch without being restricted. I think that there's a like kind of like a there's kind of like a payment system. I think something where you can only listen to a certain amount of streams per per clip, right? And that was kind of a problem to me because I felt like I don't want people to be in a position where it's something different if I say, hey, like I could say turn on a mod chat only, but I'm not going to do that. I feel like at the same time, basically, you're going to have just like you have comments from people like when we first started up and stuff like that. I feel like a person like that is looking to get a reaction and looking to say, hey, well, I came in and I said this. How's he going to respond? You know, I also know what a sock account is. Let's get that out there right from the rip. I know what a sock account is. I know how people will come in with a soccer account, say something, and then try to come back with a different account. I also know as far as when it has to do with, in my opinion, when it has to do with mods and stuff like that, how some people may become a mod just to destroy a community. That's why we have a long-standing process before you can become a mod. And yeah, just wanted to kind of put some of those things out there. As far as the live streams go, my live streams are not even typically all the time live on TikTok, and I am here to announce today they will be brought back to YouTube. Reason being is because, excuse me, I feel like maybe, I mean, maybe not right now, right? Like, to be honest with you, maybe like not right off the bat that YouTube and, well, not YouTube, but Twitch and TikTok are, kind of going at each other or something right now. But I do feel that that day is coming, might be fast, especially now that YouTube, which if I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, and you're going to hear me say that a lot when I go to talk about things because nobody's right, nobody's perfect, but the Lord on high. You know what I'm saying? Um, we all fall short of the glory type John. And I feel that if I had to be real about it, basically anybody can be wrong. When I go to say something, I'm going to leave out the option. I'm going to be real about it. Um, as far as me claiming sources or claiming, hey, I know this because, this person told me, or I know this because I read this, I will reference it. If I come across an article from a person that says, hey, myself personally, I kind of believe more in and this may not be the popular decision when I say it, but I kind of believe more in the IGNs, right, as a kind of like ESPN of gaming. I kind of respect what them guys do. I feel like if there was no IGN, it might not even be a space for me, because how much interest would people really have in gaming if we didn't have a, legitimate place that does reviews and does information for us to be able to, listen to it and stuff like that, right? Um, as far as some of the stuff that I've seen go on, to jump into it right out the bat, I'm going to be going back and forth between Nintendo and Xbox. I'm not going to actually say, hey, just talking about one or just talking about the other. Some days there's going to be streams where I talk about both. Some days there's going to be streams where I just talk about one topic and bounce. As far as a time limit, I'm not going to put a time limit on this. I know some people may remember from the original SR51Media show over there on SoundCloud that I was doing just 51 minutes. That's another reason why I decided to game. Hold on one second. That's another reason why I decided to game while I'm actually playing the game and talk to you while I'm doing that, because I feel like it keeps my attention on gaming. I feel like if I'm just sitting here, rattling down articles and reading articles, you could do that yourself. Not saying like I wouldn't do it for you, but I'm pretty sure somebody could be like, man, if I wanted to listen to somebody read an article, I can just go to the internet and watch it and read it myself. I want the insight. I want to know, what is your opinion, hot takes, all that, like, stand on it type stuff I'm willing to do, but at the same time, in reason. I'm not going to say, okay, I'm just going to randomly, comment on something that I know nothing about. And I know a lot about Xbox. And I know a lot about Nintendo. I've been here since day one. Been using their products. Now, if we want to talk about products, which I think is another thing that needs to be brought up, I am a excuse me, and you're kind of gonna have to give me that one with the cold and everything. I am a current user of a Nintendo Switch 2, which I kind of have in my hand right now. Well, I have it on my TV, but I am a current user of a Nintendo Switch 2. I also own a Xbox One X. I used to own an Xbox Series X, but I moved it out for a Xbox Series S 1 TB. I decided to do that mainly off of the fact that I felt as though that was one of the best moves to go with, especially with us waiting to see what's going to happen with the next Xbox. I will be getting into that as far as my thoughts on the next Xbox and kind of what I plan on doing with it, or if I plan on going along with it, type thing. Um, Games wise, I'm really open to anything. I give everything a shot. I will play everything from Unravel and Animal Crossing and Poketopia all the way to some of the most gruesomest games out there, like Assassin's Creed, um, a military style special forces shooter like Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, um, to a, let me see what else is something in extreme, Cyberpunk, Grand Theft Auto. I have hours in Grand Theft Auto just riding around, just causing chaos and stuff. But yeah, I'm one of those gamers that's willing to give everything a shot. So if you have recommendations, if you come back and watch this and you put in the chat, hey, check out this game, or you should look into this, just be like, check it out, and maybe I will give it an opportunity. Um, as far as when it comes to not covering PlayStation, I feel like myself personally, one of the things that, if I could say anything from my brand's perspective, I don't think anybody should be covering anything they don't play. I actually play Xbox, right? Like the reason why, and I'm going to get into some of their, my opinion on some of their, I guess, strategies that they've been doing. I'm going to be getting into some of their strategies that they've been doing and how I feel about them in a little bit. But as far as the opinion of, hey, Xbox is doing this or Nintendo's doing that, how I feel about it, you will get my honest opinion. Um, Apologies right now to any Xbox executive, boss, underboss, capo, or anything like that with these brands, whether it be Xbox or Nintendo, but I hold a responsibility to my audience, to the 51 Dynasties, to the SR51 Media Empire, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. I can't go again. Nobody can fully go 100 on you because you gotta have a little bit of privacy. So I don't know what, 95. You see what I'm saying? We're gonna go 95. Give me 5%, right? But to start it off right out the bat, one of the things that I'm gonna give you one thing from each brand that I like, right? Just so we can at least have at least one good thing out there. Uh, one of the things I do like that I'm seeing from Xbox is the Renegade thing. You know, the whole like we're gonna return back to what we were when I was younger. You know, when Xbox was more like how can I put this? The Xbox that I knew was the Xbox that had Saints Row, okay, which I still, in my opinion, okay, I know there's Grand Theft Auto 5 and I know all that, but if I had to be honest, outside of Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto, I want to say Grand Theft Auto 3 and the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I feel as though Saints Row games beat the hell out of every Grand Theft Auto game that came out. And if I remember correctly, Xbox was the original holders of that. I think I could be wrong, but I think the what's the name of that thing there? The second one was only available on Xbox. I think like Xbox 360 or something like that. And man, I put in work on that job. I'm talking about we had to protect the role player. I forget Julius, the boy Julius. You ready? You down to protect the role player? You know, like that's where it was at that time, man. Like it was a real deal. It was real deal Holyfield type thing. You know what? I don't even want to play, man. I'm gonna play that drum later. Um, play some. Let's see what I'm gonna play. Let's play some. I mean, I got the roster. You know the thing about Madden, like once you get to this time of year, it's kind of, and I'm not, yeah, sometimes I'm very off topic, right? You know the thing about Madden, it's like once you get to this time of year, it's kind of, you know what? Let's try out that, because it's kind of hard to build a roster already. It's gonna take some time to build this roster, but yeah. So the thing of it was, with Saints Row, man, I was protecting the row. It never clicked into me. I'll never forget it. He knows who he is. Let's put it to you like this: the person I'm about to mention, they know who they are as far as like my homie goes. He came over to my house one time, right? And he was like, "You're not playing Halo?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm protecting the row." And he's like, "What?" Like, like, Halo this and Halo that. And I'm like, I don't really care, like it wasn't like, and that's the wild part about it. I think a lot of people that, in a way, see Xbox gamers figure that the only thing we care about is like Gears, Forza, and Halo. And like, I really could care less. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, the good things that I love about Xbox is the fact that they were willing to take the shot to give me Scarface, a game that I hope you want to talk about executives listening. Give me back Scarface, give me back Godfather 1, give me back Godfather 2. You see what I'm saying? You want to talk about getting Renegade, get Renegade game and give them those games. Contact those movie theaters and get me back those games. Are they? Let's say, how can I say this nicely? Are they child acceptable? No, they are not. Okay, but let's be honest. What is nowadays? When you really look close, like who's really going to care about some Scarface game from a movie back in the '80s that basically kids probably have never seen, or if they did see, don't care about, right? Or a Godfather movie, which is classic to somebody like me that loves crime movies. But to the average young kid, it's gonna be like, I don't want to watch this crap, or I don't want to play this crap. So it's kind of like y'all want some nostalgia, y'all want some Renegade, go Renegade that hard. Um, but yeah, that's what Xbox meant to me back in the day. Presently, because I said I was gonna mention one good thing. I like to go past and present. That's gonna be a lot of things you're gonna see me doing going past and present to be able to compare. Um, Presently, what I love from Xbox is more so, I would say the two things are, the first thing is uh, the accessibility. I think the fact that Xbox is more accessible than they have ever been is something that I like. I like the fact that Xbox is in a situation now where they can be played on a multiple of devices. I know a lot of people kind of feel like it shouldn't be that way, but I feel like myself that it should be. You know, I know it sounds kind of weird, especially with them taking out the what's the name of that thing? Everything's an Xbox, which I think was a mistake. I'm gonna be honest with you. Somebody, hold on one second while I get a little air in this room. Ugh. Um, Somebody that what you call it? Somebody that says, hey, Xbox is accessible, wasn't it, I don't know what the explanation, right? Because I'm not going to put words in any boss or executive's mouth that did not say it themselves. But the fact that there was some sort of thought there that, well, this is bad for Xbox by being everywhere is crazy. Okay. One thing that made me spend more money than I probably ever have with Xbox in these past couple years was the fact that I'm thinking need a little bit more air than that. Um, One of the things that made me spend more money with Xbox in these past couple years than I ever have was the fact that I could play it anywhere. You know, my Xbox Rogue Ally X I still feel is one of the best. Seriously, like one of the best purchases I've ever made. It might, and I'm going to get into it. It may be the reason why I don't own a Helix right out the bat because if it is still in the plans, like if um, let's say Xbox Game Pass is still in the plans to be uh the go-to service, right? Like say they're like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and what you call it? Say they're like, hey, we're gonna go forward with the next Xbox, but at the same time, there's gonna be like a constant stream of games that are playable on the Xbox Rogue Ally X. Like what I'm assuming here is that Fable, Forza 6, State of Decay 3, and other games like that that are coming out are going to be playable on my Xbox Rogue Ally X day one. Now, if it is not, then I think that's a problem, to be honest. I really do. Because I think there's a lot of people out there like me, and this is kind of veering into the, what I like part of it. I like the fact that that possibly can happen, but I'm going to get into in a bit, if it doesn't, why I would have a problem with that. As far as Nintendo, going back in the day, some of the best titles that kept me around was more Demolition Man. Big fan of Demolition Man. Shout out Phoenix, the three seashells. Right? If you know, you know. So basically, um, Demolition Man was my game back in the day. Big fan. I'm a big fan too of games that have movies, or like tie-ins. Like prime example. I bought like I got my Switch open, so I'll run it down for you right now. Hold on one second. In my library right now, I have Madden 26, Deadliest Catch, Ocean Boat Driving Fishing TV show. Love that show. If you have not watched Deadliest Catch on A&E, bro, you are tripping. A&E, oh, I think it's no. You know what? I want to take that back. I think it's Discovery. I could be wrong here. It's Discovery if I'm not mistaken. But put it to you like this: Deadliest Catch, Street Outlaws, Deadliest Catch, The Sword Fisherman. I'm into all that, and I never thought I would be. I guess it's me getting older and stuff like that, and starting to watch things that I didn't normally watch back in the day. But yeah, I'm definitely into that. I haven't played it yet. I bought it to play it. Let's Go Pikachu. I beat it once. I'm going back to play it again. Pokemon Pokopia. I have that. Just started it because it just came out. Civilization 6, Sid Meier's Civilization 6. I have that. I think it's either 6 or 5. I can't remember which one it was. Shout out to mobile gaming. There was a game called Clash of Clans, not Clash of Kings. Oh no, Clash of Kings, right? And it was a game where it was like a strategic type game where you manage your castle and you join a group and you go back and forth, like building stuff and building up and protecting the people in the castle, like a strategy game, simulation. I like to look at them kind of like The Sims with fighting, right? Very good looking game. Decided to grip that up. Animal Crossing New Horizons. I already have 100 something hours into that. I don't know if I can pull it up because it's a new system. Excuse me. Hogwarts Legacy. Have that as well. Hell, I bought Hogwarts Legacy on Nintendo, Xbox. Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition, must have. Pokemon Champions, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which I've beat several times. DC Online Universe, Street Outlaws, Winner Take All 2, The Walking Dead, the final season, which I'm trying to wrap up. Mario Kart World, WWE 2K25, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, and Dynasty Warriors Empires 9. Now, those are games that are just in my library that I had going on. If I go to my virtual cards, I also have games that I didn't name, which would be, if there's any that I didn't name, would be, I'm going to use this, Mortal Kombat 11, MLB The Show 23, Immortal Phoenix Rising, Super Bloody Hockey, The Outer Worlds, NBA 2K24, Overwatch, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duelist, Fallout Shelter, Pokemon 5v5, Apex Legends, 2K21, or I guess it was called Elder Scrolls Blades at the time. Paladins, Arena of Valor, Spellbreak, Rogue Company, Vigor, Skyforge, Asphalt, Hitman, Rocket League, Saints Row the Third, the full package, Just Blackjack, Street Outlaws, the first game, Warface Clutch, Warframe, Kirby Clash, Trial Rising, and Fortnite. These are all games that I've been, playing back and forth as I go back to Madden to finish my roster or at least work on it. These are all games that I have on my current system, right? And I'm looking to expand it. So the reason why I pulled back a little bit, because I went on like kind of like a game spending spree this past weekend and everything like that. But speaking of the things I like about Nintendo before we get into specific games is the fact that I like that the direction they took. Okay. I like the fact that they said we are a hybrid handheld console brand, period. Okay. We are not, PC and console and TV and movies and all these different things. Like I even read today that because I was trying to understand why my Crunchyroll account wouldn't pull up on my Switch. And I guess I mean, I could be wrong here, but I guess there's some sort of like thing where Nintendo doesn't want um those games on there just yet for whatever reason, or it just hasn't been worked out. But if you guys do hear this and say, hey, nah, man, it worked for me, this is what you got to do, and da 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 da, just let me know, and we'll go from there. But yeah, at the same time, basically, how I looked at it was, and you know what, I don't think Madden is the game to have on. I think I'm gonna go with some. I'm gonna go with some Pucktopia because I can read what they're saying. Well, no, because then they're gonna ask me to want to pay attention to that. Let's go with something I want to. Oh, you know what? I can work on I can work on a Madden because Poketopia is gonna have me read stuff. So yeah, Nintendo, I like their direction. Speaking on software, because let's come away from where we were in the past and move into the current software. The Xbox One Galaxy X, I think, is an amazing purchase. Like I said, it's the most powerful. It's two Xbox One Galaxy X and the Nintendo Switch 2, I feel is like the perfect blend of hardcore gaming, but also offering casual. Now, the reason why I backed up a little bit from the Xbox One Galaxy X in these past couple of weeks is because I noticed that how can I put this lightly? Um, Xbox has made themselves into a multi-platform streaming service, right? I know that may not be the popular thing to hear. I know a lot of people might feel like, hey, well, that's insulting to the brand. And look, I have no problem with that. I think that if you look close at a lot of my tweets, which are 70,000 deep, this is not one of those, oh, this guy just picked up a mic today. Nah, I've been around for a good minute, man. And the thing about it is, what I've learned is that uh, like at first, prime example, we'll talk about some of the things I don't like. Giving me $1,000 handheld because that's what the Xbox One X retails for. Giving me $1,000 handheld and then saying we're gonna go affordable is a little bit questioning because it makes me think like, okay, so are we going affordable in the sense you mean like, say, excuse me, are we going affordable in the sense like, say, you're going to start to market, for more affordable than actually premium? Because I bought this with a premium expectation, and you also have to understand that getting a device like this locks you into something that can never be given back to you. It's different with a Switch. You can walk a Switch. I mean, to be honest with you, You can walk a Switch or any other really handheld into any, you know, GameStop, pawn shop, or store that takes electronics and probably get a good amount of grip for it. Um, but with an Xbox One Guy X, it would be hard to do that. So what I'm choosing to do instead of passing judgment on them and saying like, yeah, you know, this is pissing me off, or you know, just randomly jumping to the mic or whatever, I'm choosing to say, okay, I'm gonna wait until more information comes out. You know, um, I'm also not gonna be using specific names of executives because I feel as though that kind of targets them. And I also believe that a lot of people will try and say, hey, well, let's clip this when he said this, and you know, take it to this person and say, look, you know, he's talking bad about you or something like that. I do respect. I was one of the first people, in my opinion, to respect the new boss of Xbox. If you go back to the tweets, I'm pretty sure I was one of the first, not like the first in the first, you know, 5 or 10 minutes or anything like that, but I was. 1 second as I get a hoodie on in here. Um, I was one of the first to give my honest opinion. You know, hey, welcome to the brand. I'm glad. I can't wait to see you know what you do and take over and stuff like that. As far as tweeting to executives, that will be a little bit less, mainly because of the fact that I understand that, you know, these people are, how can I put this? These people are people too, you know, and I think that's something that gets lost in the whole gaming world. You know, it's kind of like this, we're just going to write anything, you know, and then, and to be honest, what I notice is a lot of people will write like, and once again, no shot at another content creator, but I think a lot of people don't understand how permanent the internet is, you know? Like how I've said things. Look, I agree with people. I've written things about, I'm pretty sure not everything I've written is the best take, you know? But if I had to be real, it you know, it needed to be said. And if it's as long as it doesn't offend you or any specific group that you may be a part of, then I don't take it back. You know, I kind of look at it like, hey, you know, say what I said at the time because maybe that's how I felt at the time. You got to look into, you know, why I said it. You also got to look into, you know, what was the reason for saying it. You know, um, I don't think there, when it comes to my empire and our community, I don't think there's even one comment I've ever made bad about PC or PlayStation. I actually owned a Steam Deck before I owned the Xbox One Galaxy X. The reason why I got rid of the Steam Deck was mainly because of the fact that I felt like, okay, uh, if I could be completely honest with it, I felt like, why do I need a Steam Deck if Xbox is going to play Steam? And I think a lot of people that are, how can I say this? Because you're gonna hear me say that a lot. How can I say this? I think a lot of people that are building their brands off of the back of this whole, you know, Steam's here to compete with Xbox. I think myself personally, they're in two separate worlds. Okay, I think that anybody would tell you that most games do not even release on Steam. Okay. And also for somebody that actually owned a Steam Deck can prove it and has been, you know, playing it when I had it consecutively day after day after day, giving opinions and still feeling though it's a good device would tell you that I mean, we may get to a point in a little bit where games release day and date on Steam, but a lot of times it doesn't work like that. You know, typically games go PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and not in a specific order, but just, you know, as far as where they go. I noticed there was a lot of the reason also that kind of made me back up from Steam as far as a brand when they're with their console was the fact that there were games I was buying that weren't fully like compatible and things like that. And I felt like I said, if my Xbox plays Steam, then you know there's no point for it. Do I regret paying what I paid for it? No, not at all. Because I feel that this next go round with Xbox, um, a lot of people are going to make that decision. I think that that's why they're kind of how can I put it? I think that's why they are very cautious on what they say because let's say they were to come out right now. Oh, I thought there was noise. Um, let's say they were to come out right now, right, and say, yeah, the next Xbox will play X, Y, and Z's game, but at the same time, it will not, um, it will not connect to the Xbox Rogue Ally X. I'm gonna tell you right now, um, that would piss me off. I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna lie about it. Like it would severely piss me off. So because I feel like it's kind of like they sold you something that they then turned around and you know went left with. You know, I feel like in a way they hold an obligation to us to basically how can I put it? They hold an obligation to us to basically continue on with console gaming through a mobile standpoint. There's a lot of people out there that own Xbox Rogue Ally X's and Rogue Allies. If I had to be honest, as far as the whole I don't like this or or I don't this is not my form of gaming, that's cool and everything like that for everybody else. But if I had to be real, myself personally, um, I enjoy more handheld nowadays. You got to understand, I grew up on green screen gaming as well as I'm trying to see if I can keep Jalen Phillips. Okay, Jalen Phillips decided to stick around. Okay. Um, I grew up on green screen gaming, but I also grew up on a mobile standpoint. Um, I was the type where, uh, if I could call it fair, I was the type of person where I enjoyed staying at home playing the game, but when I got the opportunity to go out the door with my Game Boy and back then 800 million batteries, I took that opportunity and I would go out the door. One thing I would say is that PlayStation and Xbox never really kept up until the PlayStation Portable came out, PSP, which I had. I had at least two, three, maybe I want to say that I stuck around with PlayStation portables till around like the third generation. When they got to the Vita, I was done because I felt like, bro, like, and I never forget it. Like I walked into what you call it? I walked into the what's the name of that store? GameStop, right? No, it wasn't GameStop at the time. It was GameStop. It was either GameStop or EB Games, one or another. Because back then there was EB Games. But yeah, I walked into GameStop and EB Games, and what happened was I went to go buy a game, and I was like, I think it was like the new God of War because I was beating them jaws left and right. Now, as far as if all God of War games are the same from, I like Jahan Dotson. I'm gonna keep that young ball. Um, as far as uh, God of War games that came on PlayStation, do they count as like official? Excuse me. As far as like official God of War games in the series, I can't answer that. That's something that can probably only be answered by PlayStation guys. Whether or not they count them as like beating PlayStation games. But that's what got me into the God of War series because I was never one that really owned my own PlayStation. I was more of a Xbox guy. And then, yeah, what ends up happening is I moved on to Nintendo, right? With the Nintendo Switch recently, I went back to consoles basically after the PSP. I kept the Xbox, the Nintendo Wii. That's one thing I can say I didn't really, agree with like that. Wasn't really my cup of tea, so I didn't necessarily really deal with it like that. And then after I want to say, hmm, after about a couple of years, there was the Xbox One, and I got that. And where I currently stand now to bring us forward, like I said, is the Xbox Rogue Ally X. I do have my Rogue Ally X right here because I did name my Nintendo Switch games, and of course I got this is an Xbox, and I'm glad I did since they don't since they don't say that anymore. But I do have my Xbox Rogue Ally X. Let me just grab this real quick and give you the games that are on here. One second. My bad. Like that. Oh wait, did I mess with my audio? Oh, I think I messed with my audio. Hold on one second. Hopefully it didn't mess with my audio. Let me turn it up and make sure it didn't mess with the audio. Hold on, let's double check. Okay. Yeah. I don't think I messed with the audio. Uh, but yeah, I'm gonna turn this off. Hold on, I hope I didn't mess up the audio of the chat. 5 seconds into the daggone stream, we done already messed up the audio. Let me see if it lets me out of here. Yeah, it did. It messed. I can tell because I can hear the audio somewhere else. Uh, okay. Now, let me make sure the audio is back over here. Give me 1 second as I make sure the audio is directly over here. Okay. Give me it again. Okay. Yeah, I think we're pretty good over here. Let me double check. See, make sure it's still playing. Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't want to. It has to update itself, so I don't want to run the games down. I forgot that I have the headphones because I'm using my AirPod Maxes, and I'm also an Apple user as well. Uh oh, now we got this over here. Okay, then now it's connected again, all over the place. I just headphones is all over the place. Don't worry, we'll get some dedicated headphones specifically for the streams for this. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm also want to put that out there that I am a Apple user as well. I am a avid user of Apple products, and I play the iOS games as well. Like, what the heck was that? Um, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and disconnect the Bluetooth from. Let me turn that off. Let's go ahead and turn the Bluetooth off on the tablet as we don't need it. And then this is updating itself, so that should be cool. And I should be connected over here to the chat. Let me see. Still playing. Let's double check. All right. We should be good now. So yeah, what ended up happening was basically I bought the Rogue Ally X. I bought a good couple of games and I love it. It if I could say anything, it has changed my idea of Xbox. What the heck? If I'd have known that thing was going to snatch up my audio, I would have never cut him off. Um, basically, it has changed my opinion on Xbox. It's changed my opinion on what I think. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second, real quick. Are fully powered off now. What I was doing was, you got to update the Xbox Rogue Ally X to keep it running well, right? It's basically a computer. You can't let it like basically not update itself. And let me make sure the audio came back. What I was doing was, you got to update the Xbox. Okay, cool. You have to update the daggone thing because if you don't, uh, what'll happen is that basically um, it'll mess up. You know, like it's like a computer. If you don't update your anybody will tell you if you don't update your products after a period of time, they won't run well. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm also an avid a iOS user. The games that I love from iOS, I'm a big fan of Candy Crush. I know a lot of people may, and I'm gonna say this like this too. If you don't believe me, check my rep. I'm not gonna do the whole, oh, I feel this way, and oh, this is where it's kind. I've been around. If I could say, excuse me, one second, let me get some water, and I won't be going too much longer. Um, as this is just the first episode, introductory and stuff. But I wanted to get across some things. I predate a lot of channels. I'm not, like I said, worried too much about numbers, but as far as information and choices and being loyal, I think I've already proven that to Xbox and Nintendo. I've already proven that I'm not into making someone feel stupid or talking down to them or punching down on them for their choices. I also understand that it's a hard world out here now. Okay. I myself am a working husband. I don't know if I put that out there. I am a happily married man. I'm a brother, I'm a cousin, I'm a son, I'm a husband, I'm a faith driven man. There's a lot, I'm a worker. So I don't really have as much home time as I normally had back in the day. 10 and 12 years ago, we could just sit there for 12 hours. Also, to be honest, too, my need as far as a gamer isn't really that anymore. I kind of feel that, to be honest, things have kind of changed for me, in the sense where I like having gaming on the go. Okay. And it's a great option. You know, it's kind of like that thing where like once you try it, it once you go gaming, once you go portable, you never go back type thing. And it's made me, have to take a step back to say, okay, do I want to, you know, do I want to buy the next Xbox if I have a Xbox Series S 1 terabyte and I have an Xbox Rogue Ally X? Do I need to jump in the beginning? With Nintendo, will they one day pop out with a Nintendo OLED? I don't think they would do that right now. To be honest, I think that that could really mess up their audience because they would be introducing a way bigger, um, what do you call that? A way bigger contract to their to their system, right? Than what they really wanted to get into. What I would say the smarter thing they'll probably go with is probably just games that we've all been asking for. Like, do I believe Animal Crossing is coming anytime soon? To be honest, no. I think that if Animal Crossing was right around the corner, not saying Animal Crossing and because I'm assuming I'm calling this game correctly, Pokopia. I don't think that Pokopia would have been released this early if Animal Crossing was coming out right around the corner, but they're both, under the Nintendo umbrella. So they may be looking at it like, hey, we're going to release Pokopia, and then a couple months later, we're going to release Animal Crossing because they're all under our brand, and whoever likes what is going to play it, and who doesn't, doesn't. You know, whereas with something like Xbox, right? Like I said, one of the things I didn't like is, which confuses you a little bit, is the fact that at one point everything's an Xbox. Like on the back of my case, when you take the cord section off, it says, everything. This is an Xbox, and it was kind of the whole, hey, this is an Xbox, and your phone's an Xbox, and your computer's an Xbox, and your tablet's an Xbox. Now, I mean, sometimes there's a lot of people that go along in a way with what everyone else is saying. And I think that sometimes there is a fear, which I will address, in the sense of content creation, where if you say something or if you step the wrong way, that you step out of line and maybe you get taken off that list, you know, maybe you don't get as much clout. Maybe you don't get sent this. Maybe they don't retweet this. Maybe they don't like this, And I can understand that some people don't want to kind of go that route because that's who they are. But for me, I look at it like I would rather be 65 years old and have, you know, 100,000 people in the empire, and they all are real, and we all keep it real with each other about all of gaming, than have thousands of people that are only watching me because I'm playing up, talking down about somebody else's purchase, or saying they're stupid, or they're this or that. Like, you don't really know what somebody could afford. Let's be real about it. You don't know if somebody can even afford to continue gaming, period, in this landscape we're in. You know, and do I blame PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo for the way these consoles cost in these games? No, I blame the economy. Period. I blame the economy that we in and the situation that we in financially with the world. That's why this stuff costs more. Not because they just woke up one day and wanted to charge you more, bro. You know what I'm saying? And ladies. It's not that they just got up and said, you know what, I think we're gonna charge $300 to $400 more for our system just to do it. I think they looked at it like these games cost, you know, $400 and $500 million, or two, between, what is it, between 100 million and 400 million nowadays to basically make. So how I look at it is, I can understand them being like, we got to raise the price. What do you expect, right? Um, but yeah, I would ask in a respectful way. I tweet at the executives of these brands to ask these questions going forward? No, because I feel like what it does is it creates a spotlight on that question with that person. Okay. I think that going forward, questions from my empire and my community are best sent directly to the company. You see what I'm saying? Like in a tweet form. If you don't know, I'm also present on also present on X. We have a great community over there. I am a blue check mark over there, which means that I am verified. I am a real person, right? This is not a bot talking to you type thing. And yeah, basically, I look at it like, personally, I'm probably gonna write something that says, "Hey, just a little bit curious, as an Xbox World Gala X owner, you know, will there still be, day and date, Xbox releases to my console handheld, and will it continue being a part of the platform, or has that been phased out?" Now, if I get an answer, I do. I'll be sure to tell you in the next one. If I don't, then I don't. If you see a response on X sent to me, feel free to comment there. But know that it's coming from a respectful standpoint. Um, Now with Nintendo, the reason why Nintendo has been getting more of my input is because I feel as though there's more of a clear message, you know, and it's not. I never want you to feel that it's like one versus another. It's just what one is doing may lead you to lean more the other way, or at least even it out. Okay. When I got my Nintendo Switch, the only game, the first game I got when I got my Nintendo Switch was Animal Crossing. Then I ventured into the Dragon Ball Z Xenoverses, and then I ventured into, um, what's the name of the other game there? And then once I got my Switch 2, the first game that I picked up was the first game that I picked up was Cyberpunk: The Ultimate Edition. Now, if I had to be honest, Cyberpunk sometimes can be a little tricky because there is no third person, which I really hope is available in the next Cyberpunk game, which is probably going to come out eventually. But I do feel that, in my opinion, basically, it's an amazing game. Period. It has some of the greatest actors I've ever seen in my life. Growing up as a kid, I shouldn't say kid, like I was small when they were acting, but as a younger adult, watching Keanu Reeves play, Neo was amazing. I mean, this was game changing. Okay, and to see the story grow into him and the love between him and Trinity in the last Matrix movie. If you have not seen it, watch the whole thing. Don't watch just, the Matrix, the last one. But amazing actor. He plays Johnny Silverhand. I don't want to ruin it for you, but he's a rocker, kind of like a future rocker that, has a connection to you, and I loved it. And then they came out with my man Stringer. String, right? If you did not watch The Wire, Stringer was, my favorite character in The Wire. Stringer Bell, uh, basically a drug crime. I don't want to say drug crime TV show because it has a lot of elements to it that deal with a lot of things like, cop life, judge life, politics, crime, love, passion, betrayal. It had all that in it. So don't take it as just like a, kind of like drug movie or drug TV show. But to be completely honest with you, Stringer Bell was such a good actor in The Wire. I did not know this man was British, or I want to say England, if I'm saying it correctly. I didn't even know this man was British till after the show went off. I happened to be watching I'm trying to think of what I was watching here. I was watching a like a TV show, right? And he came across, I think it was like TMZ or something, and they were like doing an interview, and he was talking, and I was like, wait, this dude's British? Like I've heard String talk 800. You don't know how many times I've heard String talk and never once pieced together that this guy was British. Just because at that time, I'm not gonna say the internet was new, like it was something that didn't exist or something like that, but it was one of those things where it was one of those things where, if I had to be honest, it was new to the world that String would, be that way. And then out of nowhere, they announced that Stringer Bells in Cyberpunk, and I'm like, wow. So now I got, Keanu Reeves and I got Stringer Bell in this John, and then the world is super good. I feel like it's one of the best, in my opinion, I feel like it's one of the best worlds out there for gaming. Right? It's just amazing in my opinion. It's I have said this before, right? And I will explain maybe at a different date for a different topic. I feel that Cyberpunk 2077's world that you live in is better than Grand Theft Auto Online 5, because I feel like it's more of a story. I like more of that. Okay, I can log in, I can change my clothes, grab my guns, hit the streets, make some money, come home, chill, maybe stop past the club on the way home, change my clothes, buy a new car, and then all right, I'll see this game next time I play it. Whereas like Grand Theft Auto 5, like I'll never forget, like I'm playing this John. I think it might even be on camera. Like I'm playing this John, and this guy, uh, which, if I had to be real with you, I feel like has no place in Grand Theft Auto. Um, I was later told it was called griefing, where this guy, he flies past me on a what do you call that there, on one of them motorbikes. He flies past me on one of those hover bikes. You know them things where where you fly around dropping missiles and stuff like that. Now, to me, if I remember correctly, and like I said, I could be wrong here, but from what I remember, Grand Theft Auto was actually like a car game. When I first played Grand Theft Auto was back in the day where it was a top-down view, and like even the stabbing motion was just a little hand with a little point, and you would like stab people up or shoot at them or something. And then when you stole the car, you would drive off in the car and the cops chase you and stuff. That was the Grand Theft Auto I remember. Now I got to be real. Somewhere along the route, okay, I don't know when, I don't know how, but somewhere along the route, I feel like we have lost the topic of this game. I when I came out the mall, the casino, because that's where I went. I drove to the casino and played about, I want to say like 5 or 6 hands of blackjack, because I like blackjack as a card game. Get into that later, but basically what happened was I liked the casino and everything. I wanted to try it out. They said, hey, they have a live casino in Grand Theft Auto. One of my homies had told me about it. I was like, all right, well, let me go on over and check it out one day. So boom, I'm over there checking this joint out, and then I come out and he just like rockets me, right? And then before he, like, as I'm getting in my car, he rockets the car, right? And I'm like, what the hell was that? Like, what, like, what is this? Like, I felt like, in a way, like, is this Grand Theft Auto, or is this like, George Jetson or something like that? Because the bike felt very Jetsony. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. That's this new thing on the game. Now, by the time, a lot of people that maybe don't play Grand Theft Auto don't understand that when you die, you don't just respawn right away. When you're in online, especially depending on what you call it there, what your internet is like, it could be a minute before you load back in. They hold your spot and all that, but like I said, it could be a minute before you log right back in and stuff. So what happened was I ended up logging back in, and then going over to the car lot because I always keep all insurance. I always keep insurance and stuff on my vehicles just in case something like this happens. So what happens is I make my way over there to the center, right? To pick up your car and everything like that. And basically, my car was on its side, like on the side, like of the door. And then I'm like, okay, how did that happen? You know, like I'm thinking to myself, like, what, like what went on here where basically someone was able to, flip my car in a sense where I can't even get in it, right? And I'm like, all right, so basically I'm at a point where like I'm gonna have to either like blow this car up and then come back later once the insurance. Keep in mind, I had to steal the car to get there, right? But I'm like, I'm gonna have to, blow this car up and let it reload for me to come back and, be able to get it, or I'm gonna have to drive a different car. And I'm like, okay, this is stupid, you know? And that's what I mean about the differences between that and cyberpunk, to be honest, because I feel like with cyberpunk, the things I don't like about cyberpunk are more the fact that um like the things I don't like about cyberpunk are more the fact that uh in a way the enemies can be a little too overpowered. I do feel that some of the enemies that are in Grand Theft Auto are, excuse me, some of the enemies that are in oh excuse me, some of the enemies that are in uh Cyberpunk are a little bit too, overpowered. But I feel like that makes it a little bit more challenging as well. You know, I feel like it gives it that home field. Now, as far as the story goes, story on story, if I had to be honest, like completely honest, uh, Grand Theft Auto story was good, but Grand Theft Auto story was boring at times. I think that there were some elements where it was a great story for what it was, but if you've played Cyberpunk 77, 2077, just the beginning, you will understand what brings you back to that game. And to know like where it's going and where the story's headed and stuff like that only makes it that much better. So what ended up happening was I was like, boom, I gotta get, Cyberpunk 2077 for my Switch too. It was just non-negotiable. So once I got it, I felt great about it because I'm like, all right, we got this amazing, game here that we can play at any time. I have a mobile world where I can build and build and build and come back to at a later date, you know? So what happens is I bought that Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, shout out to Xbox. I had already beat it over there, but then I chose to what you call it? I chose to get it again. You know, I will be looking at starting it up a little bit later tonight. As I said, I won't be going forever. This was just kind of an introductory on how I feel about certain things where they are. So those things, in a way, made me say, all right, man, you know what? Um, I have Xbox Game Pass. Speaking on that, because I know that's a hot button issue right now. Um, was I upset when I heard that Call of Duty is possibly not coming to Game Pass anymore? Yes. Um, but I had to take a step back and understand, okay, uh, Call of Duty has to come to Nintendo. I mean, last time I checked, I could be wrong here, but last time I checked, Call of Duty has to come to the Switch for at least 10 years. And then I think it was PlayStation as well for 10 years. So, and if I'm not mistaken, this last Call of Duty that everybody didn't like didn't even come to the Switch. So, whenever that contract is supposed to begin between them, I feel that that will benefit the Nintendo Switch more because of the fact, not like one after another, but it'll give me more options in a sense. Um, because I don't, myself personally, I don't really believe in carrying um too many systems, because I feel like that's just weighing you down in a sense. Um I try to like especially in this economy. Because there was one point, if you look back at my pictures, there was one point where I had all three, where I had the Xbox, and as well as the what's the name of that thing there? The Xbox, as well as the PlayStation, as well as the Nintendo Switch, and it was fun, having a lot of games. But I did recognize in a way that, excuse me, I did recognize in a way that basically I wasn't supporting all of them equally, and carrying memberships. Like, I cut the cord, me and my family cut the cord a couple of years ago, and we operate solely out of, like, what do you call those things? Subscription based models now. Uh things that have very good services, and, like, even tonight, I'll be chilling to um probably not tonight, but at a later date, I'm gonna be activating my Crunchyroll again. But I'm double time considering that as a later purchase. But it is something that I want to have. So when you cut the cord, you get more into, like, services and different things that what you call it, services and different things that you want to pick up to basically have in your home, right? So my question to them, would have been, you know, why buy excuse me, game, why buy Call of Duty to then turn around and say, okay, well, you don't get it day one. Now, it could be because of the fact that, I mean, it happens like that with any game. There's games like, if you ever notice, like myself personally, I hope that something like EA college football comes to the Switch this year. I also hope that Madden comes to the Switch as well. I hope both of those bundles that are available for everybody else comes, to the Switch this year, day and date. If they do, I plan on getting them, mainly because of the fact that I feel like it's only right to have, you know, two of my favorite sports games available on my handheld. Have me to a point where, um, in my opinion, had me to a point where, hey, you had the best of the best at all times on you. And in a sense of having that, you also have the ability to say, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, buy this here. Now, would I buy two bundles? Excuse me. Would I buy two bundles? Yes. Would I buy them on the same day? No. I feel that probably what I would do is I would probably buy, because there's already games coming out from Xbox that I want to buy. Um, there are some games at the preview. Matter of fact, well, don't take. I have a different phone, so I can go ahead and look it up. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I wrote the notes, so let me see here. Xbox, because I don't know if they're coming to Xbox Game Pass, but let me see. I know it was called. I think it was called a Direct or something like that. If it pulls it up. If it doesn't pull it up, then I'm gonna label them. Fable, I'm gonna get down with. I'm gonna be honest with the Forza Horizon game and stuff like that. I don't actually know. Forza has never really been my number one gaming car game. It's always been Need for Speed. I'm just Need for Speed and Street Outlaws are more what I like, but I'm not ruling out Forza. Um, there is Fable, of course, as I mentioned. Forza Horizon 6, I will be giving it a chance at least. And then there is what happened? Oh, maybe that wasn't it. Xbox, was it a conference? Xbox. Let's see. What's the name of that thing? Because there's so many. We got a conference. Ah, here we go. Game Showcase. Okay, so there was Man Build the Enemy. The Outer Worlds 2, I have to get to. So that's gonna keep me over there. Um, put it to you like this. That way it don't slow it down. Put it to you like this. There's a couple of games already that they don't have to worry about. I will be buying the Lord willing, because y'all are gonna hear me say that a lot. Lord willing, because it's a wild world out here nowadays, and you don't know what you're getting into financially. So yeah, Lord willing, everything goes well, and I will be buying State of Decay 3, the big package, because I want whatever early access I can get there and whatever content I can get there. Fable, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have some outfits and some swords and crap like that in the early access there. Um, what else there? Forza, uh, Forza, I'll probably end up waiting till it comes out because, like I said, I'm not a very big fan of what do you call that? I'm not a very big fan of excuse me, of drifting. I really don't like it, to be honest. I never liked the Tokyo Drift movies. I never liked drifting in games or movies. So at the same time, I feel that, I probably wouldn't buy a game early to drift. Not saying it's not a good game, or saying it's like some trash game or something like that. You shouldn't be playing it. Like, nah, it's a good looking game and stuff. It's just myself personally, I don't know if I would want to go ahead and be doing that for a game that basically, I hold no uh extra while I move over from Nintendo to let's start that Pikachu back up again. Um by launching that Let's Go Pikachu. Um but yeah, why is it selecting that? Hold on. Let me hit select. Okay. It's not registering my right stick. Hold on. Press A button on the controller you want to use. Okay. Oh, I see what it is. You gotta play because I don't have it connected to the console. I have to play one after one. I don't like that. I think that needs to change too. It's kind of having a hard time recognizing. Oh, what the heck? It just started up that way. What the heck? Um, you mainly just walk around to it and you press A with the buttons and stuff. Um, yeah. So the thing about it is, Um, never really was a big fan on Forza, but I think Forza is the best, racing game on the planet right now. So it's kind of hard to ignore that. Uh, what I would say is I'm gonna give it a shot. There's a couple of games, like I said, from the direct that I feel as though. Hold on. Okay, so that's not working properly. We're gonna have to. Mm, okay, we'll deal with that later. On to Procopia. Um, Yeah, so there's a couple games there where I'm gonna have to, check them out, see if they're okay and everything like that. But I do want the early editions. Fable, Forza. Would I buy early edition of Forza? Yes. Even though it may not be my preferred number one game that I play, I do feel as though that it's the most beautiful, complete style game ever when it comes to gaming. Right up there with Nintendo, excuse me, right up there with Nintendo, right up there with Need for Speed and games like that. Um, I would say that, you know what? Is there something wrong with the system? Do I need to disconnect this thing and start again? Hold on. Okay. And then, okay, maybe it wasn't registering it. Um, Oh, you know what? If it wasn't registering it there, let's see if it registers it on a Pokemon one. One second while I check something out here. Because maybe that's why I wasn't registering it from the rip. Oh, I see what it is. When you're doing that, Okay. Oh, you can only register one for Pokemon. Oh, okay. I see where we are. Um, yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with the one. It's cool. I can go with the one. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, basically, I would give Forza a chance. There was a couple games from the preview that I like, State of Decay, Fable. So they don't have to do much for me. As far as the whole Call of Duty thing goes and all that, you don't necessarily have to secure some massive, very good Call of Duty because I play it, but it's not the reason why I play Xbox. With Nintendo has kind of created a whole ecosystem around something that's been in my life since I've been younger, which is Pokemon. And I figure that myself personally, I feel as though when it comes to Pokemon, I'm a very big fan of them. I have a tattoo of the starters, the Pikachus, the Bulbasaurs, the Charmanders, the Squirtles. Myself personally, I have no problem with that. The whole idea I've heard of people kind of coming off that, Nintendo isn't this grown thing and da 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 da. Squirtle, the reason why the tattoo I got, shout out to the Black Leg, shout out to Tattoo by Anthony Pingy, which is, basically the best tattoo shop in Tacoma, Washington, um, and in Washington State, period, in my opinion. Um, and I will be getting more photos of my tattoos and stuff. But where I'm coming from is Pokemon is one of those franchises where if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. Like Squirtle was a gangbanger before he actually became Ash's Pokemon. You know, like he was a part of a gang where they were stealing stuff and they were knocking off stores and the cops was looking for him. And then he gave all that up to be rolling with Ash and stuff like that. Pikachu used to destroy Ash every chance he got. Like he would electrocute this dude every 5 minutes. Like he would if he even tried to hug him, he would electrocute him, right? Charizard, which is actually Charmander when he first started out, was very sweet to Ash in the beginning, but he had no allegiance to him because his trainer didn't care about him and left him in the cold, which was a very sad story. And when he did train him to become Charmeleon, he we used to set him on fire all the time. So not knowing the show and not knowing the characters, it'd be kind of hard for you to connect with them now because of the fact that you would just figure like, oh, this is some sort of cash grab, or in a way, this is Nintendo's way to um you can't even rotate the character. This is Nintendo's way of cashing in, which it isn't. You know, I think that in my opinion, um, this is kind of hard to navigate, to be honest. We can go ahead and try something else. Um, I think that it would be very hard to understand these stories. Like shout out to what do you call those? There, the GameStop employees that was like, yeah, right now everybody is just getting into it, and I'm like, and I understand that. I understand that there's a lot of people that what is going on with these controls? Okay, there we go. Um, I feel like there's a very unknowing section when it comes to Pokemon. I think it's one of those things where, oh, and I need to also get certain games I just bought downloaded too, like NBA 2K. So yeah, I think there's a very kind of unknowing sense of Pokemon, right? And I think that the power of Pokemon and Nintendo power as well is kind of very underrated. I think a lot of people sometimes believe like, okay, basically, um, it's kind of okay that Nintendo, that not okay, but I think some people believe like it's not that important to us. When I saw Pokemon, to just give you this, why I feel as though it got rated, and it is the best Pokemon. Well, I don't want to say the best, but it's top five best game of all time when it comes to Pokemon. Because for 100 something years, we've never been able to talk to them. Like when you think about it, right? Every Pokemon game that you've played, they go murmur, 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 and all that, right? They never actually like have a conversation with you and say, "Hey, you know, this is the house I want to build, or or this is the hold on one second, what are they saying? I need 71 gigabytes. Yeah, that's another reason I'm getting a memory card for the Switch. Um, they've never been able to like have a conversation with you and be like, hey, this is what I want for my house, or you know, this is what I want as should I take Cyberpunk off? Mm, I would just be removing Cyberpunk for like 2 weeks. I would still need to put another 5 gigabytes with it. Yeah, to get NBA. Let's do Dynasty Warriors and Cyberpunk. Well, you know what? No, let's because Cyberpunk is very good. I might want to dive into that. Madden, I think is too far gone. Let's do Madden and Dynasty Warriors to get 2K on here because I think basketball season's more current than football season, and I've played Madden several times. Excuse me. I was laughing at it, then had to cough. Uh, like I said, getting over a cough and losing my voice. But yeah, at the same time, uh, speaking of hardware and stuff like that, I think that it's great hardware that they've given us. The Xbox One Galaxy X and the Nintendo Switch and stuff like that. The Nintendo Switch 2. I don't make them compete. Like I don't make it go, hey, well, you have to bring a game out over here. Like when I look at Xbox, I'm like, all right, you're giving me Fable, Forza Horizon, and I'm talking just their studio games. Fable, Forza Horizon, State of Decay 3, and two games that I know I saw at their conference thing that I like. So to me, I'm like, that's 5 games this year that I'm willing to put money down on. Then you got because I can grab it even though it's downloading it, right? Speaking of just exclusives, well, I can't say exclusives on an Xbox standpoint, but games made by them was the games I just noticed. I mean named, right? Then over here you have games that to me stand out as exclusives that either I want to play, haven't bought, or gonna buy. And that would be things like, say, Let's Go Pikachu, which I'm still loving, Pokemon Pokopia, as well as Pokemon Champions, uh, and as well as Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I want to get later, and then Mario Kart. So we're already up to, I want to say 4. I know there's one in Animal Crossing as well. I'm going to be playing less Animal Crossing because I'm going to be playing Poketopia. But where I'm coming from is these is 5 hits. Okay. Now, to some people, they may feel like they're not necessarily hits because they don't connect with them. But I do, as a gamer, and I connect with the Xbox games I've named as well. Now, to address some things that are the biggest news before I get you out of here, type thing, the direction of Xbox. Do I agree with it? Some of it yes, and some of it no, because I do, and I'm willing to say that. I think that anybody that just wakes up every day and says that the console that they talk about or the brand that they talk about is amazing and everything else is bad is not in a bad way, but probably a pure liar, and that's not really what they think behind the scenes. Myself personally, I think that Xbox having an Xbox One Galaxy X is something that either they support going forward, and we have an option of either playing the best PC handheld out there or buying a PC console hybrid to be at home. Um, that can get a little confusing because there is a like the bad press, and that's what I would kind of cautious them on. The bad press that you would get from abandoning the Xbox Rogue Ally X or Asus brand really would hurt you because then I'm pretty sure the IGNs and because I'm not going to mention anybody else's brand, but I'm pretty sure like the IGNs and companies like that would write articles like, hey, Xbox screws over their fans or Xbox abandons the Xbox Rogue Ally X community, and then it will force us as what do you call it as what do you call those things as consumers, right? To say, well, I mean, if you're not going to support this thing, then I'm gonna bounce out. Now, do I think they're going to do that? No. I think, like I said, Fable, Forza, and all this. If I'm not mistaken, because I don't want to touch this thing again for it to activate again. But uh, uh, I'm pretty sure that basically they will support it, and I hope they do. I really do hope they do going forward. I don't want anything to happen where the console is not supported by them. And if it is, I'm gonna tell you something honest truth. I can see myself spending more money on the Xbox Rogue Ally X than I will an Xbox Helix or Project Helix or whatever they're calling it there, because you have to understand I have to be home to play when I'm spending it on. You know, whereas if the Xbox Rogue Ally X, what I was thinking was, if it's going to be supported going forward, then okay, now we can make it more of a mobile system. We can get a thinner case in here, so maybe we can carry it along with your Switch. We can get a different power bank in here to be able to charge it on the go, and we can move away from Xbox being solely at home thing. Like even today, the reason why this is a shoot, and a lot of things are going to be shoots, is because of the fact that I feel as though those are the best. Some of the best promos. If you look back at wrestling, I'll use it as an example, right? A lot of people don't know in the Attitude Era, which is widely regarded as one of the best, if not the best era in wrestling nowadays. Um, the Attitude Era had guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, these guys would come out and they had the green light. Here's the mic, say what you're gonna say, just get across the point of say next week's match, but say what you're gonna say. And I think that's what I like to do here. And that's why I broke away from the SoundClouds. That's why I broke away from putting it on Twitch. That's why I broke away from making it solely available on just the website, because I want to be able to shoot. I want to be able to say how I'm feeling at the time and what the news is, and see you next time. I was unaware that I could do this from just my phone itself. Not saying I didn't know how to write, but I had forgot about it and was like, oh, let's try it out. And look at what we got. You know, as far as things going forward, once I get some sort of answer from somebody that the Xbox Rogue Ally X will be supported by Xbox going forward. Like I said, there's some things I want for it, like a thinner case, better power bank charger, uh, probably a screen protector, outright, things like that. Those are things that I would be looking to get in the next couple of weeks if I get an answer. And yeah, I would, play both of them. As far as Nintendo, with games that are coming out from Nintendo, first of all, like I told you, it's Pokopia. I want to buy Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm pretty sure I can go to the store and see some of the best sellers and tell you. Let's see here. Let's see here. Best sellers. Pokopia I already have. Mario Kart I already have. Donkey Kong Bonanza I definitely want. I do want to go back and play Super Mario Odyssey. I don't necessarily have Super Mario Odyssey. I never got around to it. I would love to go back to play that. People were talking about Zelda. I never really got into Zelda back in the day like that. I might be willing to give that a shot as well. Um, there's two of them. Because I'm looking for, not to say exclusives, but let's see what they have for Nintendo Switch. Um, Pokemon ZA, I definitely want to get that. That's gonna make like my third Nintendo Switch Pokemon game, which I don't care about. I actually want it, right? Then there's Super Mario Odyssey. Like I said, I want to get that. Um, what else is in here? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Um, Stardew Valley. I can see that as well. I know that I don't think they make that specifically. I don't even think it's a Sony Nintendo game, but definitely something I would want to pick up. Um, oh, and then I can tell you what else. The other part of it is too. I have decided to activate the Nintendo expansion pass. Mainly because I was a person that owned Virtual Boy. I'm pretty sure I still have my Virtual Boy console headset around here somewhere. But yeah, I plan on getting Nintendo expansion pack. I think that for me to be able to give the best opinion on Xbox and Nintendo, because with Xbox, I'm an Xbox Ultimate Game Pass member. I've been that for years. I also was an Xbox ambassador for a while. I was a mixer streamer for a while. I don't know how far you can go with them. Not saying like I'm giving up or nothing, but I mean, what more can you do? Um, with Nintendo, I feel like the best way to give, the best opinion on their service is to also have their multiplayer service. So that's why you saw me shutting down things like what do you call it there? You saw me shutting down things like SoundCloud, making sure that services are kind of cut off that I don't need because that money goes directly into an expansion pass for a whole year. So at bare minimum, I would say not this Saturday. I mean Sunday, excuse me. Not this Sunday, but probably next Sunday. I will look to activate that pass, and then maybe I can show you some of the games I grew up playing and stuff like that. With a little '80s gamer feel to it. But yeah, this was the SR51 Media episode 1, just a little bit of a shoot to kind of get out there. I talked about we ran down some of the news and the direction Xbox is going. I talked about how I agreed with the everything is the Xbox marketing scheme because I felt as though that it opened the door. I think that what you have to understand, and this is speaking from a guy that got godsons and brothers and sisters and all that sorts of stuff. Um, Being able to access an Xbox is something that I think they need to think about because being able to access Xbox on a tablet, a phone, a handheld, and all this sorts of stuff makes more people a fan of your brand because they feel like, okay, I don't have to buy the, you know, $800 console or the $1,000 handheld or the $2,000 console just to experience your brand. I can play with my iPad that maybe I bought a couple years ago. It may not be, even though my iPad is updated and everybody in my household is updated, it may not be that way for everybody, you know. And same thing with cell phones. Everybody has a cell phone. I would recommend the backbone if you mainly play on cell phone, but everybody has a cell phone. So I think before they go, I think there's somebody that kind of needs to talk to them a little bit. I do credit the boss for saying that she did. I heard something that she mentioned something about Xbox being more affordable. So I'm curious to see what that would mean. Like if they're gonna put like say a discount on the original Xbox Rogue Ally X to leave room for a Xbox. Like maybe if the Xbox Rogue Ally X is 1,000, maybe they drop it down to say 700, right? And then the Xbox is maybe 11 to 1,200. I can see that, but even that would be kind of upsetting to somebody like some of us because we feel like okay, so we paid $300 for you to come in and drop $300. Like that is something that could, mess with you a little bit there. But and how I look at it is if it still plays all the games that I mentioned, the State of Decays, the Forza, the Fables. I even have God Mafia 3 on there that I'm running through. If it still does all of that, then I'm okay with it. I'm not upset at all. But if there's something where the Xbox itself comes out and there's no connection anymore between the Rogue Ally X and the Xbox new brand itself, I will have a problem with that. With Nintendo, I don't know what they would have to go through to get Madden and EA, but I think they should really try to get that day and day because there's a lot of us that would love to have it here and maybe even somewhere else as well, but definitely have it here. So that way we're in a position where, kind of can take it with you. Yes, you can do the same thing with an Xbox Rogue Ally X, but if I'm not mistaken, with the Xbox Rogue Ally X, um, the PC version, when it has to do with EA, is different than the console version. I know the console version just came into Game Pass a couple of weeks ago, but I've owned Madden, every Madden really, the day of day one release, early release, give it to me. College football, I want to play with my Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. As far as Madden, I have not made my mind up directly how I'm gonna go. I kind of want to play with the new Philadelphia Eagles, but also at the same time, I kind of want to do a rebuild team. Typically I do rebuild teams where I can play with new stars and new people without feeling the weight of kind of having to keep the same people from the Eagles. So I don't know which way I'm going to go with that yet. But I'm not going to keep you in any more longer. It's almost like 10 on my end over here in the West. Like I said, I just wanted to pop in, get that first episode out there. I do want to take a second right now while I'm in here and I want to see something. Uh, 1 second. I don't know if that comes back up because, yeah, you know what? So let's just go ahead and screenshot of that. Okay, and then, all right, cool. So, yeah, as I said, I will be doing more content. Um, this was just a random shoot to get a lot of information out at one time. If you felt like, you would like it to be one way, or you would like me to answer a question, like say if you listen to this in playback and you're like, hey, how do you feel about this game? How do you feel about this console? How do you feel about this direction? Feel free to write in the comment section. If you don't see it there, if you don't feel like writing it there, feel free to jump on over to X, ask me over there. I can answer as well. Like I said, I'm a husband, I'm a worker, I'm a faith-driven man, brother, sister, son, all that sorts of stuff. So if I don't get right back to you, don't feel offended. I am a family first brand. So what that means is nothing against other people, but I'm not gonna be playing no Barbie and no Lego games just to get a higher gamer score, bro. Like I'm about family first, and then gaming on games that I like playing. So when you see me play a game, it may not be the latest hottest game that everybody's playing. It may not be the latest game to come out, but at the same time, know that it's a game that I enjoy and something I will come back to. Like if you notice, like I said, I started on Quantum Break, played it, finished it. Started on Assassin's Creed, still play everyone that comes out, have no problem. Even though faith driven man, God fearing man, I still am okay with playing I guess you would call like a black magic version of Assassin's Creed, looking to see how they come out with that. Um, at the same time, we can always, play something like that and then fall into a Pokemon Pokopia or Let's Go Pikachu or something like that or Pokemon Champions. So, or Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse. So I can go all over, I'm versatile with this. Jack of all trades in the sense when it comes to gaming. But if I had to also give my preferences before I get out of here so you can kind of have a better understanding, my preferences are Nintendo and Xbox. I prefer third person games, fully customizable. My advice uh, right at the bat when I did say I'm not really a Halo Forza Gears person. Um, I like Gears 4 and 5. I didn't finish 5, but I did. I know 4 is the one, if I'm not mistaken, where they introduced Marcus Phoenix' son and his unit. I kind of like that better than going back in the past with this, you know, I guess if I could be honest with you, I played Gears when it came out. Okay, I played Gears 1 and 2 and all that and 3 and all that when it first came out. So seeing the same game, even in a different light, being made again has made me disinterested. But luckily, excuse me, luckily I did not actually finish Gears 5. So when Gears E Day comes out, I plan on, you know, downloading or not even waiting till then, but I plan on downloading Gears 5, if I'm not mistaken, is the one, and playing through that. E Day doesn't really interest me like that. As far as Halo goes, my favorite Halo is Halo 5. Not just because of Agent Locke, but I remember there was a podcast, I forget what it's called, Hunting the Truth or something like that. The job I was working, every night that it came on, I would like play this thing and be like, oh my God, I cannot wait to play this game. This is the first time I've ever heard of Master Chief being hunted, or being a criminal. And it was like, when I got the game day one, I was sitting there like, what's going on? Like, where are we going with this? And I feel like we've reverted back to the same Halo story of some enemy has arisen. Must wake up, Master Chief. Master Chief has killed the villain. Let's go back to sleep until the next Halo. And I feel like that's what's kind of like destroyed the Halo brand. Same thing with like the combat system and the multiplayer. I feel like Halo 5 multiplayer was the best because like I remember times where I could like log in and it would be like they had missions where you would just, wave after wave after wave of enemy, right? And people would be in the lobby talking crap. Like, I could tell y'all never played Halo before. Y'all doing this, and people shut up, man. We doing this, and, da, 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 da. And it was fun, because it was. I like PVE over PvP. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Call of Duty. I love me some PUBG, and things like that. But with Halo, I really liked what we were getting from the Lock story. I'm not gonna ruin it for you if you've never played it, because a lot of people are getting into Halo now they might not have been into. I liked Locke. I liked his unit. I liked the unit that was with Master Chief. I like Master Chief. I like how it ended. We never, probably ever, am going to get an answer on Cortana and what happened there and the Guardians. But it was a great ride while it lasted. One day I hope Xbox, if I can say anything, man, I would hope that one day we get a fully customizable Halo, you know. And I know that may not be what everybody wants to hear because a lot of times people associate the game with the character from the game in the beginning. But I think that when you look at something like even Pokemon, they've said that they could see a world where there's 10,000 Pokemon over the next 5 to 10 years. So that means by the time I'm 40 now, so by the time I get like 50, there'll be like 10,000 Pokemon. I barely know the ones over top of the 150. So that's them realizing, hey, if we keep adding to this platform here, it's not about attracting youth. It will attract more and more people because there'll be more merchandise, there'll be more game activities. Or they already got an event coming out for Pokopia, I think April 29th or something. So with Halo, I feel like in a way we not say need to come away from Master Chief, but I would like more a fully customizable Spartan. Something where when you kick on the game, you create a guy, maybe you got base armor, you go through the grinder, and then before you know, you get more armor and more. You ain't even got to get rid of Master Chief. You could make him your captain. And you have to listen to him during the game and take missions in return. But the whole like everybody is Master Chief, and I'm not sure if this is correct when I heard this, but hearing that we're not getting a Halo for at least another 5 or so years is even messed up too, because I'm like, why? So, like to get the same, it's kind of like, okay, we're waiting 5 or 6 years to get the same Master Chief story. Like, bro, for all this, you could give me an open world with Halo and I would play that joint every daggone day. But it's like to be in a situation where it's Master Chief after Master Chief after Master Chief, it gets a little, boring, to be honest. Now, does that mean like I have a problem with the game the way it stands? Yeah, but does that mean I would never play it again? No. So don't take that as a complete problem. Um, yeah, but I just wanted to answer that about Halo because I know I made that comment and I didn't get it. But you guys and gals have a blessed, safe rest of your day. I want you to be cool out there, spend some time with family, spend some time with friends. If you haven't already, be sure to check up on your mental, spiritual, and physical health. Always stay on top of that. That is greatly important. And remember, this is the SR51 Media Empire, where you never know what is next behind the next load screen. You have a great day all night. Peace.